Here at AAI, we're on a mission to build a better working world. Our Diversity Works project complements AAI's wider agenda of inclusive employment support.
So the Scottish workforce, diversity is so important because we don't have one type fits all anymore. It is a naturally diverse workforce, and therefore, as to become an employer of choice, I think, and to get the best candidate possible for any given vacancy, we have to embrace diversity, and go out there and actually show that, we are willing to change and willing to attract the right individual for a job, which, could be anybody from any background.
Through facilitated conversations between employers and talented yet marginalised people, we have seen light bulb moments on both sides. They lead to significant changes in recruitment and onboarding practices in businesses across sectors.
Let's make it about the business. What we look like, where we're from, should not be part of the conversation. You have tons and tons of people who have this experience, they've done this over and over again in different continents. Bringing them to Scotland to do the same thing, to help us achieve the economic goal, is just as important. And we need to have these conversations every day, and hopefully the government is putting things in place to help employers achieve the strategic business goal.
So I'm here from Scottish Enterprise today, and we decided to come along just to see what good looks like in this area of inclusive recruitment, and just to learn ourselves about what we should be doing and the kind of support that we should be offering to the companies we work with, because Adopt an Intern Do It Best, they're the kind of gold standard in diversity and equality. So yeah, we're here today just to listen and learn.
It's really important that the government supports these initiatives. It brings different people to the table, it gives credibility, it also brings impartiality, and it means that we know that we have people who are interested, who are supporting, and who are doing different things to help make a difference.
And we're a very young startup, and I'm very conscious that the culture, the approach I take at the very beginning is what defines us all the way through our growth and beyond. And I want to get it right from day one. So I'm here to meet talent, listen to talent, understand, learn and implement what we need to do to build a properly inclusive and properly high growth company.
My motivation for coming today is I've heard a fair bit about Adopt an Intern, and I work for Scottish Power, and we are looking at ways to become more inclusive across a range of communities, and I thought this was a good opportunity of hearing from the community directly. Idea that people might be overqualified for particular roles was one of the ones that I've taken away. So we've got people who are potentially overqualified for some of our roles, and they come from a background where they're not getting experience. That's one of the things that I'm taking away to look at, to say, listen, how are we catering for that within our recruitment process?
So I kind of had this image that employers are not really, after all, they are money-making organizations. They just want to employ people who they think will be the best for them, rather than being interested in helping, minority people or returners, getting a job. But I was pleasantly surprised to see there are organizations out there who actually care. So my question is, how do I find them? How do I know which ones are the good ones?
What today has probably reinforced for me is that there is a talent pool out there from this BME population, and it's about being an employer that's willing to go perhaps that extra mile to tap into that. It might not be as obvious to where this talent pool is, but it certainly is there, and it's about picking up some of those tips, but also looking at our working practices and actually going, could we actually do a bit better with a little bit more work?
Diversity is just so important in the Scottish workforce, because there's so many pools of untapped talent out there that companies are not tapping into at the moment.
The thing that's been really heartening from today is just the willingness to share experiences, the willingness of the employers to say, actually, we know we don't always get things right, and there are things that we could do better, and how do we do that? And for the women sharing their experiences and maybe barriers that they've experienced, saying to employers, this does not work for us, or you should ask us about this, or this is how things could change. I think in order to really get diversity and inclusion embedded in organisations, you need to be able to have those open and honest conversations that might be quite difficult but are really important.
Diversity and inclusion evolve. I don't think it's static. I think where it will be 10, 15 years from now will be different from where it's at today, and the more thoughts and ideas and discussions that could be had, that will help it evolve.
Takeaways from this morning, I've written quite a lot of notes. I mean, they can be just small things like where to advertise our jobs, but also bigger things in terms of education and training of our hiring managers, for them not to ask inappropriate questions or make assumptions on behalf of candidates. So, you know, that's been from this morning.
It's just so important for companies to have the opportunity to have these conversations with the right people in the right communities. So many businesses have a desire and a want to do the right thing, but they don't know who to go to, who to speak to and reach out. So sessions like today's are just super important and thoroughly enjoyable. I've met some amazing people, so it's been great.
In our business at the moment, we have a diversity working group. We're looking to increase the diversity in our organisation, as historically it's not been superb. We've been around for 18 years, so we're trying to improve that. But most importantly, the inclusion part, once we have these people, how are we going to ensure that they're happy, they want to stay, they're having the opportunities to add the value that they can. So that's steps that we're looking to take even more so now, and particularly with insights from today.
The work that there is to do is more manageable and more achievable than maybe I feared.
I think it's very important for AAI to continue doing this. I think the more people that you speak to, the more seminars that you do, the more employers, the more workshops, the more awareness that there is about how beneficial it is to have the inclusion and the diversity. I think that as soon as employers can tap into and see the actual benefit and the value in it, because you know yourself, it's all about seeing the benefit and seeing the value. As soon as employers can get that, they'll be all over it.
Yeah, I think it's very important that government takes this seriously and give us a chance to prove that we can work good too, and want to actually not visiting here, but establish our lives here. Yeah, information gathering, and just hearing other people going through the same thing and things like this happening, which means there are people who are interested and wanting to help and improve the situation. So it's quite encouraging, yes.
And for the Scottish Government to be putting their finances behind these activities is hugely important for us from an employment perspective, because we are limited on budget as well. So to have organisations that are supported, who can help us become more inclusive, is extremely important from our perspective as well.
In our organisation, diversity and inclusion are just a core part of what our organisation's all about. You know, it's in our DNA, it's in our framework. So we're very aware of it, but we're also very aware that we need to do more. We need to do better. Like, what we're doing at the moment is not good enough. So the more we can learn, the more we can improve and progress, the better. It's so important for the Scottish Government to be supporting organisations like AAI, to be delivering this kind of training, because it's just core into what Scotland Can Do is all about.
I would love to say that the work of Diversity Works, of Adopt an Intern, is incredibly important. In my role, I have had the great pleasure of bringing people from different backgrounds into our firm as a result of the work of the program, and I'm immensely supportive of that and would love to see more employers getting involved and doing the same things.
We're excited to take these insights into more businesses, demystifying what diversity really looks and feels like in a modern workforce. Diversity works. Let's make it work for you.